For the latest Hellboy news updates, visit hybridnetworkyt.com. Hey, what is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Hybrid Network and another discussion revolving around Hellboy and the surrounding Mignola universe of comics. Though today we're taking a look into the movie side of things. I'm sure there's plenty of you still reeling from the fact that a Hellboy 3 from director Guillermo del Toro will never come to fruition. Don't worry, I'm still feeling that pain too. However, there's actually another project that may have been swept under the rug after the confirmation of the Hellboy reboot from Neil Marshall. In a post on his Facebook page, Peter Briggs, the writer of the first Hellboy movie, came out to clarify that he wasn't involved in the new reboot, but that he had been involved in a Hellboy project with Universal as far back as 2010. In his post, he cites how back in 2010 he was contacted by Universal to do a spin-off project based around the Prince Nuada character from Hellboy 2. Obviously, this being complicated considering the fact that the Prince Nuada character had died in Hellboy 2's final scenes, along with his sister Princess Nuala. Instead, Briggs worked with Aaron Mason to create more of a BPRD style film, one that would center more around Abe Sapien, though Hellboy was originally supposed to appear prominently as well. Titling the project Hellboy's Silverlance, Universal had to put a pin in the idea when it seemed like Hellboy 3 would be a priority for them moving forward. Unfortunately, we all know how that turned out, so needless to say, negotiations for Silverlance resumed later in 2015, though there were some new stipulations. Hellboy couldn't appear in the movie at all. After that, Briggs illustrates that the movie would have taken on a Highlander approach in terms of its story, basically asserting that Abe Sapien, still suffering from a psychic connection with Princess Nuala, began to research the history of both Nuala and her brother Nuada, basically fulfilling the Nuada idea by showing him in different time periods, his exile from the Elven Kingdom made possible by the machinations of a fairy courtier. We would have seen Nuada in different time periods, meeting Mr. Wink during the Spanish Inquisition, and making a deal with the Angel of Death, also seen in the second movie, whom would have also been played by Doug Jones in this side project. It was also set to tie back into the first Hellboy movie somewhat, described here that Nuada and Cronin would have fought together in a friendly bout for a bunch of Ragna-Rok soldiers. The story would have featured some big climax happening in the new BPRD offices in Colorado, with Agent Myers making a return and Rasputin's gauntlet from the first movie returning as well. And it's from this point forward that the movie would be renamed Silverlance from the files of the BPRD. Talks had continued on into early 2016, where Silverlance was still being considered as a side project, but with interest in a new rebooted version of Hellboy, it was looking like this iteration of Silverlance would have to be reworked so as not to include any characters from the previous franchise. At this point, eyes turned back to the comics to try and come up with an all-new story, following the Black Flame character as the basis for the project. And that's kind of all there is to note on the project, as although Briggs kept in contact with Universal up until 2017, the announcement of the Neil Marshall reboot has most likely killed any chance of Silverlance ever happening, and while it's sad to see it never worked out, the story is still an interesting development cycle and could possibly be picked up in some form in the future if a Hellboy cinematic universe ever gets figured out. But, what do you guys think? Would you have wanted to see the project, and do you think that there's a chance that it could come back someday? Make sure you stay subscribed to the Hybrid Network and stay up to date on all of our videos as they come out. My name is Luke, and I'll catch you all next time.